Happy today. I am William Brown from IamWilliamBrown.com. This is Disconnect to Connect, one word conversations. The I woke up in a silly mood today, so there's probably going to be a lot of giggling today, and mainly, the word of the day is play, but I don't know. So hopefully I will stay on focus and stay. There is a system to this madness that we call one word conversations. The sponsor of the show is IamWilliamBrown.com, a place where you can be yourself and live your life. There are items, and you can have a conversation with me through coaching to help you be yourself and to live your life. As I said, the word is play today, and we're still celebrating this week, right? This is the birthday week and the week that we do 100 episodes and all that good stuff that you can just celebrate, because the more that you're yourself, the more that you want to celebrate that. As I do, I invite a friend to come up and we will have a conversation. Good morning.
Good morning.
And it was kind of funny. All of a sudden, I just got the giggles. I don't know what that was all about, but this is the moment where typically I invite my guests to introduce themselves however it feels comfortable to them.
All right. Well, thank you. I am Barb Klein. I'm the founder of Inspired Possibility. And what I do over there is help women come home to themselves, find a lot of people. Mostly I work with women, but a lot of people lose themselves and lose aspects of themselves over the years, to roles and identities and things that have happened. And I think play is probably one of those things that we lose. So it's a good word for today. But yeah, so helping them come back to their authentic selves and live the life they were born to live.
Wow, wonderful. I just realized something. I was like, I don't think I marketed this show this morning on.
Well,
it's like, oh, good Lord. It's like, I'm like all over the map today. So how does the word play land for you?
Well, I've been thinking about it, of course. But first of all, let me say happy birthday month. You said birthday week. I'm a big fan of taking a month to celebrate.
Right.
Even when it's not a big one. It doesn't matter. Play. Well, I thought about what does it mean? And it's a verb and a noun. And then there's playful and playfulness. I guess the way I use it most often is to bring in a sense of lightness to things that we can be really serious about. So even when I'm helping people with self-care or redefining a belief that they've held for a long time, sometimes my approach is play with that. And I think just that invitation makes it lighter and less serious and less, but I have lots of thoughts about it. So I would just start with that.
It's interesting that there's a couple, because there's a couple of people that we're friends with that play as a big part of their business. It's a big part of your business too. But the one thing that it showed up for me recently, because it was something that I was always one of those serious kids. So even when I was a kid, there was like very little play, right? So it was. But what I have gotten for myself recently is that for me, play is showing up as enjoyable learning. And it's like, I really, I play with words, I play with ideas, I play with things, and that I enjoy, that there's an enjoyment and that I'm learning within it. So if the more that I embrace play, the more that I can go up to, my Sparketype with Jonathan of a maven. I like to learn new
Mm-hmm.
things, right? Learn
Mm-hmm.
for like no reason at all, just to
Yeah.
learn for learn's sake, right?
Yeah.
And so I really believe the more that I embrace play, the more that I can really step into that Sparketype and just learn.
Yeah, 'cause I think it takes away the intensity, and it takes away that
Right.
I'm going to make this happen, right? That
Right.
pushing and driving and striving that we often do, and it just makes it more fun. And I do think I think it's at the base of creativity, and it requires
Hmm.
imagination. So I think
Right.
that's kind of the adult look at play.
Right.
And then the other thing I was thinking about this morning is it's it's so natural for children.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I am imagining even as a serious child, there was an age at which it was natural for you. And
Right.
then I was talking to my husband about it this morning. It's like, and then we learned that it's not safe anymore because somebody might laugh at us, or we might do it wrong, or we might be excluded, or and then it becomes dodgeball in gym, which isn't fun at all.
Right. That's not fun. That's not play, right? That's torture.
No. And then it turns into like competitive athletics. And
Right.
so it just was interesting to me because I think for adults, play, which I was thinking of some of our friends that we know who, it is very much a part of their work. It's part of their life, and they get it and they do it.
Right.
I think for many of us, it's really awkward and hard, and self-consciousness comes in. You,
Right.
you have to be willing to let down to be seen in that way as an adult.
Right. I think that the biggest thing for me, and when because we met at camp, adult camps,
Right.
where we let the play come back and everything,
Yeah.
um, is there's this sense of doing it wrong. It's like I'm like playing wrong, right? Right?
Yeah.
I got to play. It's like I can remember as a kid, coloring outside the line. Oh my God, I'm outside of the lines, right?
Right.
And it's just like I need a new paper, right?
Yeah.
It's like it was that. So there was like very stressful, and that I made it that it was something that I had to do right. It wasn't that it was something that I just did.
Yeah.
And so it was just, like I said, it was just really interesting how, um, how I can't remember many, many times when I was a kid where I was just playing. I'm sure I did, but I don't remember that. Most of the
Mm.
things that I remember is this pensive, stressed out play.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
Yeah.
look, the community that I grew up with, the playground, that was dangerous, man.
Mm.
The metal slide, in the
Right.
summer was hot. you know,
Yeah.
you lose
I
some
remember those.
skin, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, what were we thinking? Who thought that was a good idea, right?
That's
so
a
I
good
mean,
point.
so right. It's like so yeah. So for me, I was always had to be concerned about how I was playing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it makes me sad. I mean, it made me sad for myself because I thought, I know it was conditioned out of me, to not be so joyful, to not be too loud, to not be dangerous. Like you say, I mean, we didn't think about stuff like that though. I remember those carefree days of riding my tricycle down the hill driveway and just crashing into the wall. And that was
Right.
fun. I mean, that was
Right.
dangerous, but that was a blast.
Right.
So I
Nothing's
wouldn't
broken. Let's just keep on going, right?
exactly. So yeah, that we lose that and then we have to work to get it back. I mean, and you have clearly
Mm.
found a way to get back to it. So I'm actually curious about that. Like, what have you gone through? If it's okay for me to ask you a question, what
Yeah.
have
Oh,
you
yeah.
gone through to
Absolutely.
get back to play? How have you
You know,
wrestled
I
with
I
that?
think I think really being around playful people,
Yeah.
being around people that be it Jennifer or Jeff, the people that incorporated to their business and their life and just how they show up, um, the and others that it's and Camp GLP and Campus in Your Heart to really recognize that as an adult, I can laugh. I can do silly things. I can get paint on my hands and, I'm not going to get in trouble. Right. I mean, it's like all of those things as a kid that that I was concerned about. And it's like that because I'm embracing my curiosity,
Mm.
because that's a core value that I have. In that curiosity, there's play, like you mentioned. There's play in that, and as I said before, I frame it as I'm enjoyable learning, right? That's like a technical way of play, right? It's like, but it's for me, I had to frame it as enjoyable learning so I can even entertain it, right? To even get involved in it. And it is something that, even this celebration week, month, time, it's like, okay, I have to be serious. I have to, can't, I said, on the show on Monday, it's like, I enjoy things, but I don't want people to see me enjoying things, right? Because they're kind of see me a different way. And it's like, what is that all about? Because I think it was more about if I was doing it wrong, then people would have a judgment about, how I'm celebrating, how I'm playing, and so it's like, if I'm just like, if I'm like screaming in the woods and jumping around and all that other kind of stuff, and nobody else is there, I'm good. But when there's other people around, then I have to, do it a certain way. So, I guess play well with others, right? I took that too serious, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Or the wrong way, right?
Does help to have other people. But the other thing I'm thinking is then you become a parent and you play with your kids when you're littler, but then your kids get older and they look at you and say, "Don't embarrass me, Mom. Don't wear those tie-dye pants. Don't do those things." And then it becomes fun to to do the things to embarrass them. But yeah, I think there's just so many messages I have had so many messages throughout life to like hide that part, like you're saying. And then the other thing I thought of was Brene Brown's book, which I'm sure you're familiar with, but The Gifts of Perfection. And that play is actually one of the guideposts of wholehearted living. And she talks about it, that play is essential to our health, as essential to our health and functioning as rest is, and that play is purposeless, and we do it because it's fun and we want to. And then she goes on to talk about, in today's culture where our sense of self is tied to our net worth, and our net worth and our worthiness is tied to our productivity. It can really get in our way of doing things just for fun, just that don't have a purpose. So I think that's it's interesting that you made it enjoyable learning, because then it still has a little bit of purpose.
Right. It has to. It's kind of funny because when you were reading that, I notice my U cards that I typically, when I'm like paying attention and not playing around, right? I will set up the U cards as the intention for the conversation. And so I picked them, but I didn't announce what they were. And one was "I am worthy," which is,
look at that.
See about that. And it's like, you are heard. And the quote card is, "I think you should just do it." Right. So it's like there's an element of the intention that already set within the whole thing that sometimes, and I think it goes back to what I said before. The reason why I've had a trouble with playing is because something would be miss. I would be doing it wrong. I didn't. So there's no producer or someone's going to say, "Hey, William, you didn't do this part of the show and we're going to dock your pay or anything." It's like, it's my damn show. Right. But I am still like trying, I am still kind of worried about, doing it right and perfect and all that other kind of stuff. It's like, dude, chill out, right?
That's why I wore my shirt today.
Right.
Perfectly imperfect.
That's great. You know, and so no, it's really fun. I think really when, like you said, there's so many messages that I guess adults, right, that were given to, from our kids, if we have kids, or from other adults, right? That there is like an appropriateness of play now. Okay,
Yes.
now that you've reached this age, there's, this is where play can happen.
Right.
And I think that's why we have, in some cases, I don't know if this is a soapbox thing, this weekend mentality, right?
Hmm.
It's like
Hmm.
work, 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 and then people like go like crazy, lose their mind over the weekend, right?
Hmm.
Right? And it's just like,
Yeah.
because you need an outlet, but you kind of, save it for the appropriate time, and then you kind of like overdo, right?
Hmm.
Possibly.
Yeah.
And then it's like you try, kind of go there. So if there was this,
Mm.
if we created a space for us to like play daily, right? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There wouldn't be this need to kind of like wait till, Friday night and, you know, binge drink or whatever we do to kind of get the
Right.
play out of us.
Right. And I was thinking we do need permission, I think, as adults to play. And that's why camp works so
Mm.
well, because you're there with 400 people who have agreed that that's what we're here to do. So it's
Right.
it's okay. But I remember even my first camp GLP was really uncomfortable for me because there were so
Right.
many people, and there were so many people who seemed comfortable with this thing that I was like, why are they dressed like unicorns and wearing striped socks
Right.
and blowing big bubbles in my face and
Right.
like putting on face
It's like
tattoos.
nobody gave me permission to do that. I don't know who gave you permission to do that, right?
Right. And how do
Right.
I start? And what am I going to miss out on if I don't? And so it can create angst too. But I think you're absolutely, I mean, I do believe it is part of our well-being, and it's part of self-care to have something fun every single day to look forward to. But how do we do that without feeling like we're wasting time? And I see that
Right.
even on the weekend, I see people still. Friend texted me last weekend, I think, and said, "What are you not going to do this weekend?" And I said, "Oh, what a great question." And she's like, "I'm so sick and
Yeah.
tired of everybody saying, 'What are you going to do?' Like, aren't we doing enough all week long? And now we have to fill our weekend with more
Right.
more stuff." And I was like, "That's a good point. But yeah, how can we just have fun every day, something to look forward to, something to enjoy? And is that enough? Does play have to be
Right.
big and bold and out there?"
I think for me, because I really enjoy your conversation around, self care, and I love that play is like kind of connected within that, because I've shared a number of time on social media that, there's a fine line between self care and goofing off, right? Just kind of
Yeah.
being a lazy bum, right? Right now, and it's like sometimes I just like, okay, am I just going to label this self care, or am I just going to like admit that I'm just being a bum right now?
Mm.
It, but I think really for me, how I'm embracing play within self care is, and so it goes back to the learning. So this is hot off the press, and so that's my cue for this. Just came to my mind. I don't know if I'll have the right words. Right?
Mhm.
It sounded good in my head, but but we're gonna go with it. But there is a way that the enjoyable learning that play is learning of yourself.
Mhm.
Is what you're learning about yourself. And so the more that I embrace play in my self care, the more that I will know how to take care of myself.
Yes. And you have to
And
be willing to go ahead.
no, I just like, oh, okay, I can do that. I say that on air, but yeah, it's that's so. And then it doesn't matter what people say about it. Hey, I'm taking care of myself. I'm playing. right. You know,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, I was going to say the only thing is to approach yourself with curiosity, and it's because learning about yourself can also be heavy and serious, right? So
right,
if you come to yourself with a playful attitude, and I think that's a great way to
right,
look at it, like, oh, aren't I adorable? There I go doing that thing that I do all the time, and you can learn
right,
to laugh at yourself in a loving way, in a
right.
lighthearted way. I
Yeah,
think lighthearted is a big piece of this, and like this sense of free spirit, levity.
right.
Think,
Yeah,
yeah.
I really, I think I've turned a corner on, I guess my self-talk, or the type of conversations that I have with myself.
Mm,
And even in those, I don't want to say difficult moments, or those things that I learn about myself, or the things that I become aware about myself. Let's just say that there's a level of grace that I have. So it's not as harsh as it has been in the past.
mhm,
So, for me, and I think, like you were saying, I think there has to be, a playful kind of approach to kind of say, hey, this is what I'm up to. This is what I'm learning. This is what I'm aware of, and I'm not going to be aware of myself so I can beat myself up more. So um, it is very interesting. There's a thing. Um, uh, th- there's a thing that I have, and so there's the question that I was having that is coming to mind, and I think it may come out, is about how come, for me, sometimes play is seen as like silly, ridiculous, kind of like over the top. I mean, it's like just kind of, I don't want to say it's not managed right, and I don't know if that's the right word or not, but it's just like so um, beyond sensical, right? Right.
mhm.
So that it's is that it, or is that the bad rep? It's like the good news, bad news. You're going to be silly, laughing at nothing, and just kind of doing that kind of thing, or so I'm saying, for me, so I'm still trying to make sense and give purpose to this. I am saying, how can I benefit from all this playing
Mm,
if I'm not in control of it? You know what I mean?
mhm.
If I have no idea where the heck it's coming from, or how I
Well,
can
that's
manage it on
interesting.
some level.
Well, what's popping up in my mind right now is a retreat that I led one weekend, and I think everybody came in. I know I came in with a lot of heaviness. I think it may have been my worst week leading up to retreat ever in my life. And I
Mm,
think a
mm,
lot of people in the group were just in a really down state. And at that stage, it was still pretty early on in my retreat. So I was like, this is sacred. I have to control this. And I lost control of the group. And it was probably the
oh,
best thing that could have happened. It was
mm,
around Halloween time, and we just needed to laugh. And so some of the women went out and they started borrowing the neighbors' little Halloween signs and bringing like
right.
my partner and I were planning. We were sitting there at
Borrowing, right?
they put them back, so that's why I was borrowing. But
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
we were planning our next session, and we're sitting on the couch, and all of a sudden the door opens, and in creeps this little ghost. And these voices, and these people are like, "Ooh, what are you doing?" And I let go of the control, and I let go of what I thought it was supposed to be, and we laughed, and we
Right,
laughed until we
right,
cried, and it was absolutely the most healing, the most beneficial thing that we could have done. It was totally what we needed. And so,
right.
and I found that my friend that I was partnering with, she and I have both had really years of tough times with our kids, and
Mm,
have used humor as a way to get through sometimes. I mean, there was a point where we would play this game with each other saying, "Bet you can't top this one." And then we would
right.
report our
Wow.
latest thing. And that's one of
Right,
those things that's like funny until it's not. But I remember
right.
one time going out with her, and we just ended up singing the Barney song in the parking lot of this restaurant we were at. We were singing to each other, "I love you, you love me," and we were cracking up, and it was totally ridiculous and totally silly, and we didn't care who was around. But
Right.
it broke the heaviness of what life was throwing at us. So I think
Right.
what we're talking about is really important right now in the world, where there's so much
Right.
heaviness and so much seriousness and so many things that require seriousness.
Right.
But yeah, we need the
Yeah.
release. It's a release.
Right. And I really get that. And I got something for myself within that there is a level of, I don't see myself as a controlling person, but there's definitely a manager, involved, right? You know, he may not be the boss, but he's managing, right?
Yep.
And takes that role really seriously. And the more that I am able to basically let my manager kind of like take a seat, right, and really be in those moments and allow what needs to happen. Um, and I think that's, going back to my first experience with Camp GLP. I was wound so tight. I knew I needed play in my life, but I was wound so tight. I get there and there's bubbles and
Right.
unicorns and rainbow, and it's like, what the hell did I just get into? Right, and it's just like,
Did you want to turn around and
and
get back in your car like I did?
right, and it's just like, yeah, nobody knows me, right? I have a 2.5 day pass. I can go anywhere from here. Right? I mean, those are the thoughts that went in my, through my head.
Yeah.
But it took, almost, 2 days for me, the first day, to really just kind of like, not judge what I was seeing, not judge what I was feeling, and just, every once in a while, kind of like, stick my foot in the water, right? And kind of really see what, this is all about, and just kind of, and how I feel about it, and to do, and so to able me to go back, 4 years, right? And then, 1 year with Campus in Your Heart. This will be my first year in the past 6 years that I am not at an adult camp this year. Thank you, coronavirus, right? But it is a tough thing for me to deal with. But now that I have all the connections and all of the, basically the resources of people who have that play, I can, have, campus in my heart, hey, it's like kind of play on words there, but I can really kind of show up for myself and where I am right now because of what I've opened myself up to for the last 6 years. And even though the manager, right, will come in and say, hey, get to work. It's like, stop playing around right now, or something. There is still, a value of recognizing that there are moments that are needed to kind of give you relief from everything that is going on or not going on in your life.
Absolutely. I had a thought and it's gone. So keep talking.
Right. And
Just
sometimes the one thing that I have learned, here's a moment. I have been like threatening within my head of putting on these glasses that I saw. And so yeah, so we're gonna do a little playing here a while, and maybe this will bring it. And I can't have these on too long because I have no idea what I'm seeing. Right. There's like, no, there's this gaze. But this is the, I guess, the AV nerd kind of glasses that I got a couple years ago at a trade show. And I says, hey, this would be great to have these on today. But it's like, crazy. So and the manager says, all right, put your glasses back on. Right?
And I know what I was going to say now. I remember. What I was going to
Great.
say, I think I get more done when I take a playful approach to it, when I don't take it so seriously, when the perfectionism can step aside.
Right.
What you're calling the manager, I would call my perfectionist. And just recognize that, like, there have been times in my life where the bar has been set at no one's going to die, and so just do it.
Right.
Just try. We don't like uncertainty, says Jennifer Gines. That is so true, my friend.
Right.
But because everything is uncertain, that should be full permission to play. If we've ever had a time in our life where it has never been more clear that life is impermanent and we're not going to get out of it alive, what have we got to lose by letting loose a little bit? And
Right.
so I think it's perfect that you and I are having this conversation, that we both do struggle with it a little bit, as opposed to somebody who it's just so natural and easy, and like our friend Jennifer.
It is something that I don't want to say I don't want to admit. Right. It's like kind of like closet. It's like, yeah, I don't like to play. Right. Right. I mean, it's like, it's kind of, it's something that I don't know if it's because of the community that we're in now and everything like that. And it's a part of it, but it is the more that I embrace or have an awareness why it's a challenge for me and the hangups that I have, the more I can play with that and give myself access to play. And so that's why, this was one of the words that I wanted to play with, right? And just kind of see, and, where we can go from there. And it is something that, the level of uncertainty that Jennifer was talking about, it's not that, for me, it's not even a bad thing. I don't think if I'm like playing in a park, other than, like I said, when I was a kid on the metal slide, but there's a lot more safety, right, in our play, right? There's a lot more care. We have rubber mallets and Nerf balls and all that other kind of stuff. We have like softer,
They've taken away the lawn
softer
darts.
things, right,
Yes.
right. There's a lot of other things. I don't know if it says something about our culture now, but it's like, yeah, we're gonna kill some people, right? I mean, so we have that. So it's like the more that we're open to just being in it. And it's there. I can tell you that the one reason why I wear, for the most part, solid clothes, like blacks or blue or something like that, and not a lot of patterns and not a lot of other things, it's because there's a part of me that there's one time. So okay, here's the backstory. I'm like a Garanimals kid, right? So you match the animal with the shirt and the pants. So that's how I learned how to match, right? We got it and just kind of go from there. So the older people know what I'm talking about. The younger people are like, what the Garanimals, right? So anytime I'm like not matching or there's like too many colors, oh my God, it like freaks me out. And it's like, even when I try to kind of like, I am going to put something that doesn't match on, and it just like, it just like messes with me, and it's like, if I think when I turn that corner and kind of like mismatch, like mismatch day in like elementary school, I had nothing to do with that. It's like, no, I'm not doing it. That. Does not sound like fun to me, right? We're not doing that. And it's like, it is those type of things that I don't know if it's the uncertainty or just I don't know what that's all about. But it's like one day I'm going to get to the point that I'll give myself permission to put on mismatched clothes. Right?
I look forward to
Or
that day.
polka dots. Or stripes, or it's something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is it the Garanimals,
Garanimals.
training, right?
They ruined you for life.
Training, or they ruined me, right? So I can't play with colors in my clothing
Oh,
now anymore. So
see, I feel the opposite.
no.
I feel a sense of freedom every time I do that. So, like, I did actually buy some tie dye soft, stretchy pants a few years ago that I wear on retreat, and I love to like dance in them. And but I have to, again, I'm in a safe space, right? I'm creating that
Right,
container. So I have permission.
right,
Besides which, I'm the leader. I can do whatever I want. And I'm giving other people permission by breaking free. But to me,
right,
it just gives me this aspect that can come out that has been stuffed down for so long, and it feels so good. Even when people,
right,
and I don't even care now because people will look at me and laugh and they're surprised because they see me as kind of this buttoned up, really serious person.
right,
They have an image of me and that doesn't fit their image, but it's like,
right.
I don't know if I can swear on here, but if I could, you know what I would say? It's like,
Yeah.
no, it
Well,
doesn't
I
matter.
just changed the settings in YouTube to, for kids, not for kids. It's like, so yeah, whatever comes up in the conversation, I'm cool, right?
So there's an element of fuck that. I'm just going to say it
Right.
then, like, and to me, that's playful. See, to make
Right.
you laugh because you're like, Barb Klein just said the F word. I'm like, yes, she did.
Right. It was kind of funny because even when the one, I guess my manager again, so I'm trying to letting people know, it was like, what's the worst curse word that Barb can say? And it's not going to be bad, right? And I was like, oh my God, she said the F word. It's so it's just so funny. It was just
Yeah, because why not?
right.
If you laugh for
That
the rest
was
of the day thinking of that, then our job is done here.
that was the funniest moment because in my mind it's like, oh yeah, give Barb permission. She's not going to say anything bad.
Oh, sorry. Well, if the manager has to edit it out, I took you at your word.
I know that's hilarious. That is fun, and that, like I said, that's the level of play that's available to us, and it's just like I think that it's one of those things that I think that in my mind I say people will think less of me if I'm playing or if
Mm,
I'm if I'm there, but it's like it brings us closer to our humanity, right? It
yes,
causes us
yes.
it really causes us to kind of see more of us, and this button down image, this have my stuff together, right?
I know what you want to
Image
say.
that we right, I know. It's like I was like, there's been enough cursing on this show, no more, right? Right? It's like,
Quote on that. Okay.
right. It's like that's enough, right? It's like recess is over, right? you know but
Oh, I love it.
it is something that it's like that perfection. When I was talking to uh, Chrissy about imperfection, imperfect was our word, and we were
Mhm.
talking about perfection and perfect and how it's not even a thing. It's like it's a thing that we've made up that we try to live up to, and it's just like who did this, right? Right? And it just causes us to show up or try to show up in this way that's unattainable, and we lose our humanity because of that.
Yes, because we
and
suppress that
and it's
carefree aspect of ourselves.
right, and so it is great that this is available, and this is the more that we go, I'm just it's just running through my head. It's like, oh,
I was going to say, you wondered where the rebel fit in. That's
right
that's
there,
that's the
there it
rebel.
is, right. That's right.
My rebel is the
So,
one who brings out the playful part in me and says, you
right,
know what, just go for it.
right, and it's those as I say, the colorful words, the colorful language. I really I a number of years ago, I would think very poorly of people who use colorful language. And it's just that's who I was. It's like, you know what? There's a lot of words out there and you had to stop at those. And that's, and that's where I was. And then I went through some things and then I was like, okay, sometimes when you go through stuff, some of those words are the only words that are appropriate. That
exactly.
fit.
They can be
and
they
it's
can
like,
be great words. Yeah.
right. And it's like that's that's the appropriate word that's needed to be used at this point. And so it's like, that's I'm good with them now. So
I'm glad. I'm
it
seeing a
is
whole new line of one words for you to play with.
right.
There's my challenge to
The
you, William
after
Brown.
hours. Right, the after hours episodes, right?
Yep.
The one word, right? But
Do the George
no, it's
Carlin thing.
oh boy, I miss him so much. Every once in a while I'll go on the YouTube and see some of George's stand up, and it's just so insightful and kind of go from there. I think we can
Gonna
talk
shut this
about this
down,
for
aren't
hours. Yeah, and you know what, the one reason, and I don't know if it's the manager or it's just like, it's like, okay, we've turned a corner, and this play is gonna get out of hand. It's like, don't you hear the recess bell is ringing? Get back to work.
All right. Give me the
It's
hook.
like it is happening. It's like I'm giving a hook to myself. It's like really saying that, oh, okay, this is we have turned a corner here, and it's going to get out of hand. So, Barb, is there anything that came up within this conversation that you would like to leave everybody with?
Please forgive me, first of all. Yes, no, the importance of levity, the importance of lightening up. I'd like to leave us with a poem if I could.
Absolutely.
Is that okay? So this is from my book,
Yes.
111 Invitations. And this one is called The Angels Want. And I think it just speaks to play being part of the full richness of life, right? So it starts with, the angels want us to belly laugh till it hurts. So yay, we've done the angels proud. Okay. The angels want us to belly laugh till it hurts, exploding in silent reverie with tears streaming down our cheeks. The angels want us to embrace all that is, the richness of human life, the fullness, human experience, the fullness of life, the depth and breadth of emotion, longing and yearning. The angels want us to remember who we are, why we are here, and that love is our fuel. The angels want us to dance and sing with wild abandon, letting go of the cares of the world, arms reaching wide, face uplifted to the heavens, heart open. The angels want us to love with all our heart, even though love always hurts, to take the risk to glean the gold. The angels want us to remember what it is that makes our souls sing, to play with our exquisite, unique heart song, to laugh, to cry, to cheer. The angels want us to get lost in extreme ecstasy and bathe in unimaginable grief, allowing the emotions to wash over and through us, cleansing, refreshing, and rebirthing as they flow. The angels want us to live while we are here.
Wow. Now that is beautiful. I really, every once in a while, because I have a copy of your book. Thank you very much. And every once in a while, I'm just drawn to pick it up and just get something for the moment. And I think I don't know if that was your intent, right? Or anything like that, but that's how that shows up for me. And I really, for me, it's like, now that brings purpose to our play, right?
Good. Mission accomplished.
So, well,
Thanks for playing with me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. If people can reach you at your website there that I'm sharing, anything else that they can look for other than your book that is there, or?
Well, if they go there, they can see my blog and they can see upcoming programs. So just the best place to connect with me.
All right. So, all right, that's good. It's like, go there. It's a website. It's up
Well,
there.
this is a timeless episode, so I don't want to
Right, right.
limit it to time, right?
And to do that. So,
What's live today?
absolutely. Well, thank you for playing with me today. I appreciate it. We will say our goodbyes in the green room, but this has definitely been great.
Thank you.
Okay. The well, it's so. I mean, there is a moment in this time where when I end the show that I just really um, pray that you guys have gotten value out of it, and you can see how play is showing up for you, and where it's not, and find those moments where you can add play into your life. You can have conversations like this. Like I said, I don't know if having a coach or having conversations like this is something for you, but I would love for you to reach out to me at iamwilliambrown.com and just schedule an introductory coaching session and just kind of see what comes up. Because the world wants you, the world needs you, and the world is waiting for you. So go be you.